Hey guys, welcome to the Miss A Way. I hope you all are ready to learn some fun chemistry with me today. Now, I know counting atoms in chemical formulas might not seem like the most fun thing we do in class, but believe me, it can move on to bigger and greater things afterward. But let's just get this out of the way because this is important for us to know. So today, I'm going to be going over how to count atoms in a chemical formula. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Move up a little bit. Let's go ahead and start out with an easy one. H2O. Okay, now this one might seem easy because of how simple it is, but even if it isn't, make sure that you understand this simple concept, okay? For every capital letter, okay, for every capital letter, there is an element. All right, so H, O, Fe, nickel, this is iron by the way, nickel, gold, okay? Each one of these is an element. Even if it has a little letter next to it, if it has a big number, that means it's an element. So we're going to go ahead and count up the elements here. We have 2 elements, 2 big letters. Simple as that. So that is how we count the elements in a chemical formula. This will be on the test. So I highly suggest you know this one or write it down somewhere or watch this video while you're doing whatever, okay? Just have it on running on the background or pay attention, either way, something like that, okay? But make sure you understand this concept. That's going to help you with everything else. So now let's go ahead and start counting atoms, shall we? Okay, let's start out with a very simple chemical formula. Okay? Very simple, right? But what is this thing right here? What is that little number at the bottom? That is a subscript. Okay? And a subscript is the little letter at the bottom. Not little letter, little number. All right? It's the little number at the bottom. Okay, now we know that. And it describes how many atoms there are of that element. So in this case, there's nothing after the H. What could that mean? Well, if there's nothing after the element, that means there is a 1 there. So there's an imaginary 1 right here, meaning because there's no number specifying it, we just assume it's 1. If there's nothing following the big letter, it means there is a 1. All right, easy peasy. Next step, we count them up. Okay, so we have 1 H, we have 3 O, add them together, and that equals 4 atoms in the chemical formula. 4 atoms. Okay? So that is how you do that with a subscript. Alrighty, now we're going to move on to something a little tougher, but I know you guys can do it. This is a formula. Let's go back to our old trusty H2O. Oh, not H3O. H2O. Let's go back to our old classic H2O, water. Oops. Water. So what is this big number at the front? Okay, that is a coefficient. What is this little number down here? Ah, that's right. That is the subscript. Perfect. All right, so now that we know that, what can we do? So the first step of, and I know we've been talking about this over and over and over again because things are about to get even more complicated, but don't worry. If you follow this guide, you'll be fine. If you didn't pay attention at all during class, if you follow this simple guide, you will be A-okay. Right? Let's see here. So the coefficient is 4. And the formula is H2O. We have this subscript down here, but we know what to do with that, right, guys? We know what to do. So the next step is for us to go 4 times Actually, let me go ahead and back up. 4 times whatever is inside of the parentheses, or whatever outside of parentheses. Ooh, got ahead of myself there. Whatever is the rest of the formula outside of the coefficient, which should be everything following it, it is 4 times that. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to count the atoms first. We have 2H, 2 hydrogen, and we have 1 O. Because remember, since there's nothing following the letter, it means there's only one. We're going to add them up. Equals 3 atoms. Oh, but wait a minute. That can't be it. What's that 4 at the front do? All right, here's what we need to do. The last step is to multiply the coefficient, or big letter at the front, with the amount of atoms we totaled up here. 3 atoms. Perfect. 3 atoms. That is how you solve a chemical equation, or not a chemical equation, a chemical formula that has a coefficient. Alrighty, next step. We're going to do something I like to call the Sierra A method. Okay? It's sort of like my own way of doing things, where I've sort of devised a way to make it easier and simpler to do. But this is the foundation of the Miss A way. You know what I mean? Alright, let's get started. So we have Al2 SO4 parentheses 3. Okay. Miss A, you lost me here. No, don't worry. I'm going to help you. So there's no coefficient, so we know it's easy. We don't have to multiply it by anything at the end. So step 1 is to identify the elements. Okay? We have Al, we have S, we have O. Okay? Now the second step is to start counting. Okay? So let's go ahead and write down our elements. Al, S, O. Let's see here. We have 2 Al, because we have the subscript there. We have 2 Al. Now let's see how many S's we have. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not 1. It is within the parentheses, but I'm talking about with this coefficient here, or not coefficient, with this subscript here. Okay, so we circle the subscript, and we make sure that we multiply each element inside of it by 3. So in this case, we multiply 1 times 3, because there's only one S. The one S right here gets multiplied by 3. Okay? So then we have 3S. Now we have 4 oxygen. But we're going to go ahead and multiply that by 3, so we have 12 oxygen. Boy, that's a lot of oxygen. Then we're going to add them up together. Okay? We're going to add them up together. So we have 5 plus 12, which equals 17. 17 atoms. That's when we added them up and equaled out to 17 atoms. And that is how you solve this problem right here. Okay, next up, we have 3 nickel CO4. Okay? The first thing we got to do is we got to separate out the coefficient. So 3 times NiCO4. Okay? All right, now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and look at what's inside of the parentheses. So in this case, we're going to distribute the 4. meaning we're going to multiply everything that's inside the parentheses by the subscript, by that little number next to the parentheses. Okay? Our next step then is 3 times, we're going to count them out. We have 1 nickel, we have 4 carbon, and then we have 4 oxygen. Okay? So the next step then, after that, is to go ahead and add them up. 4 plus 4 plus 1 is 9. 9 atoms. Alrighty? Add them up. 9 atoms. 3 times 9 is 27. 27 atoms. Bingo. Alrighty, guys. That's pretty much all I wanted to go over. I think it's important that you know how to use a periodic table. That should have been introduced to you, I believe, in 5th or 6th grade, to help identify from a chemical symbol or element, this right here, to determine where it is on the periodic table. So for example, I don't know what Ni means. I mean, I do. But theoretically, I don't know what Ni means. Well, let me consult the periodic table. I'll find Ni, and I'll realize it's actually short, an abbreviation, a chemical symbol for nickel. So that's a really easy thing to do. Okay? I promise. You got this. If you want, in the description for this video, I added some practice problems in case you want to try. So feel free to check that out. And if you're watching this in Google Classroom, you're one of my students, and I know you can do this. Okay? This is Miss A, signing off.